think we're coming to get our check.
Black first, my brothers and my sisters, welcome to the Afro Elite YouTube channel. I am your host, Afro Elite. Hold on, let me get my phone on silent real quick. I make that mistake all the time. Okay, we got a lot to cover. This is literally the last day of November. I really wanted to bring it home, and there's a lot of stuff that's been popping up that I'm very excited for this live. I'm very happy because there's so much to cover, and all of it syncs up, all of it links up together with each other. So James says this is his first live. Well, I'm happy that this is going to be your first live. Oh, y'all see the For the Culture shirt? Y'all like the For the Culture shirt? Yeah, and I got the For the Culture mug too. Got the For the Culture mug. You know, since this is the month we dropped For the Culture, I decided it would only be proper to, you know, to kind of get a good send off for the Culture. So yeah, thank you everybody. And thank you everybody who for the sales too. A lot of people ordered the short shirts and all that stuff for the Culture. So I appreciate that. All right. It's a lot. It's a lot we're gonna cover. So y'all gonna make sure you guys tune in, get y'all popcorn, get all of that stuff, because it's a lot we gotta cover. All right. So without any further ado, I'm not even gonna stall. Let's get started. Shout out to we got I think that's Billy in here, Sister Rachel, Spiritual Rising, Hurricane, Sage, Tyquin, James is in here. Shout out to every single last one of you, and everybody who I haven't shout out to y'all. Now, the first thing I want to do is, we know for a fact that despite all of the protests, or if you guys didn't know, despite all of the protests, despite all of our reporting and people in Chicago not wanting the tents to go up, not feeling that it's fair, because it isn't fair. A lot of people complaining about the tents in Chicago. Brandon Johnson said, I'm still going to do it anyway. I know what you guys say. I know what's fair. I know what's right. I know what's legal, but I'm going to do what I want to do anyway. So don't tell me nothing. And a lot of people are upset about this because not only because they're really tethering off of our resources, but also they're bringing in a huge wave of crime. Let me show you guys this. Move myself off the screen real quick. Let me show this to you guys. This comes to quite literally no surprise to anybody, but we got to go through it. I got to just tad bit. Okay. I just like it full screen. That's just how my style. Everybody doesn't do it that way, though. But it says, and we got a lot to cover, folks, so I appreciate every single person being in here. They playing with the numbers, y'all, because on StreamYard, I see something very different from what I see on YouTube, but it's all right. It's saying, the Chicago Police Department is warning officers to be on the lookout for members of a violent Venezuelan prison gang they say might be living among the 20,000 migrants who've moved to the city over the past year. Remember when I literally went to Chicago and I did an interview with them and I asked, hey, how are you guys getting over here? Are there any vetting? I asked that multiple times. How are you guys getting vetted? What is the process of you guys getting your paperwork? What is the registration and citizenship process? They all like, well, technically, we don't got our processing date until next year or maybe the year after or maybe the year after. They're just shipping us over here. And they said it out their own mouth. So it's not me. It's not some narrative that we're coming up with. They literally, I went to them directly and that's what they said. So this is what happens. Now, when they say, oh, no, there's a vetting process, we're not letting them run around. Now it's gotten to the point, and this is something that we've been saying is going to get to, if it hasn't already gotten to this point, it's gotten to a point where they have to openly admit, because they have to warn people now, that there are gang members, prison gangs, that leave gangs in Venezuela and in their home countries and then come to Chicago, quote unquote, seeking asylum. They're admitting this now. And the police aren't doing anything about it. We're going to continue. It says, the second paragraph says, but there's little publicly available evidence, really little, okay, we'll find out, that the gang El Tren de Agua, that's I believe it's how it's pronounced, has a presence in Chicago. The gang is known in South America for human trafficking, drug sales, kidnapping, and the violence that comes with all of that. So you guys can only imagine, you can really only imagine what type of stuff comes with that. And on top of that, a lot of anti-black racism as well too. Going on, it says the Chicago Sun-Times analysis based on news reports, crime data, and court records identified more than 30 migrants from Venezuela who've been arrested in Chicago and DuPage County since April. All right. And that's just since April. Going on, it says a Chicago Sun-Times. Oh, I just read that. More than half of the cases involve theft and shoplifting. Two involve violent crimes, a robber, and a stabbing. Records show that only one of those migrants charged with domestic battery is listed in Chicago police records as being a suspect member of the prison gang. Stores such as Macy's, and let me tell you something now. I don't know what it is about Macy's, but they cannot stand Macy's. I don't know what it is. They keep, maybe Macy's security or something, but they keep breaking. Now, I don't know what it is about Macy's. Macy's is an easy lick for them. But it says stores such as Macy's and Nordstrom have been repeat targets for retail theft by Venezuelan migrant suspects in Chicago and Oak Brook, according to police. One of them was accused of having hit two stores in 4 days. 4 days. That means somebody hit a store and literally didn't even wait a week to hit another store. On May 4th, the 34-year-old man was arrested and charged with stealing a watch, cologne, and jewelry worth a total of $329 at a Nordstrom's on 55 East Grand Street. But the case was dismissed. Why was the case dismissed? Is anybody going to explain what the possible reason for this case being dismissed could have been? No. Okay. But the case was dismissed, they say. On May 8th, that's literally 4 days later. That is 4 days later. 4 days later, on May 8th, he was arrested under a different name on a charge of stealing $720 of sportswear from a Macy's at 111 North State Street. That case is pending. So this man said, hey, if at first you don't succeed, try again. This dude didn't even wait a whole week. And he changed his name, and this is something that they're able to do. Why? Because there's no process for them. So when they get locked up, they can quite literally give you a fake name. And if they don't have any paperwork because they haven't been fully processed and vetted here, there's nothing you can do to verify if that's the true name or not. So you don't know. Both the names could have been faked. You really don't know that. You might have caught the same person twice under two fake names. That's the problem with just letting any and everybody over here, and you don't vet them properly. This person is coming over stealing stuff. Now, I would be remiss if I missed this point. The people who are sitting up there talking about, man, all the crime in Chicago, with all the gang violence in Chicago, y'all got to talk about all the black on black crime in Chicago. Notice how migrants, what they call migrants, are coming over illegally, coming over to a country illegally, and then committing massive crimes, then committing felonies. Okay. So, and they're trying to be light. They're trying to be light because there's a whole lot of drug dealing and trafficking going on that they don't really want to talk about. They want to talk about breaking into stores and stuff, but they don't really want to get into the real stuff. But you know, all of the, well, man, Chicago is so bad and all the black on black crime in Chicago, they're not saying anything about them. So that lets you know when these people talk about crime and being strict on crime and tough on crime, they don't ever bring that up unless it's involved with black people. That is quite literally the only time crime is ever a discussion is when it's around black people. That's the only time you even hear them bringing up crime. There could be a mass shooting. You won't hear in a conversation crime. Crime does not get brought up. You don't hear that word unless it's involved with a black person or black people. Now, going down, it continues to say, the same man was arrested April. I mean, this man, he was arrested. Listen, he was arrested April 27th, and then on the 4th, and then on the 8th. This man is, what do you think he was doing back in his home country? Let's be real. What do you think he was doing back in his home country? It says this man was arrested on April 27th after punching another man in the face at a shelter in an argument over his turning on the lights too early. Turning on the lights too early in the communal sleeping area, according to police. That case got dismissed too. Well, that's y'all problem. Look, this is their problem. They dismissing everything. No wonder he gonna be like that. They're dismissing everything. This dude, and I'm trying my hardest. I swear to God, I'm trying my hardest not to laugh. But he got arrested for punching somebody, another migrant, one of his own people, in the face for turning the lights on too early. What did you expect? What did you expect, man? And then you're going to dismiss the case again and again and again? If this person does not have the temperament not to assault somebody for turning the lights on too early, they need to go back. Clear. What we need to start doing is talking about all this Hispanic on Hispanic crime, because that is just, I just can't believe that. Where are the fathers? That's my question. Where are the fathers? That's what I want to know, because that is just egregious. For turning, I grew up in a house full of siblings. I've never hit one for turning on the lights too early. Oh boy. Now, it's saying, of the cases, the Sun-Times reviewed, the most serious involved a Venezuelan migrant, George Goro, 23, is a young man, young, 23 years old, who was charged with stabbing a fellow asylum seeker in August in the bathroom of a at the Grand Crossing police station where Goro was living. He's free while awaiting trial for aggravated battery. Go you. Oh, I don't know why I'm saying Gogu, and I'm thinking of something else. He's okay. Let me just let's let that process. For I don't know what the situation is. He's 23. He literally stabbed another asylum seeker in the bathroom of a police station. Talk about not caring what the police think. How are you going to stab someone in the police station? At the age of, what is going on? And if you guys can't even, you mean to tell me that these are the police that are going to protect the streets from the migrants, and they can't even maintain the police station? There's stabbings going on in the police station, and we expect them to go out and protect the streets from them? How are we going to call them? They can't even keep the police station safe for themselves. But okay, that's who they're coming over here. But he was free. He was free though, on aggravated assault, not attempted murder, but aggravated assault. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what that is at the age of 23. It says another Venezuelan migrant who was accused of pulling a knife on a far south side man and demanding his belongings in September outside of the Standard Club at 320 S Plymouth's court. Sorry. The suspect was living at the club. He was living at the club. I don't know why he was living at the club. He was living at the club, which has been converted to a migrant shelter. The case was dismissed. Do you guys notice the pattern? The case is always being dismissed. The case is always being dismissed with them. It don't matter what they do. This man pulled out a knife and tried to rob somebody, and the case was dismissed. Now this stuff is going on, and Brandon is just not doing anything. Brandon is sitting up there trying to talk about the ones that are sleeping on the floors of police stations, not the police stations folks is getting stabbed in, but the other police stations in the airport. Oh, they're sleeping outside. They're sleeping in tents. They're sleeping on police stations. They're stabbing each other in police stations. Well, what are we going to do? Let's give them more money. No, send them back. That's what you need to do. Officials with the Chicago Police Department and DuPage County State's Attorney Office declined to discuss the crime attributed to the Venezuelan migrants. For what reason? It says the sheriff's office is aware of this organization and is working closely with local, state, and federal law enforcement partners to monitor and address any potential threats to public safety or other criminal activity by suspected members of the gang. How are you doing that? Literally tell me how you are doing that when they're in the police. They're not even scared to do it in the police stations, because the thing is they keep getting dismissed. It don't matter if you monitor them if you're not going to do anything when you catch them. If they keep getting dismissed, that defeats the whole point. Y'all might as well not be there if you're going to dismiss them, because you're not stopping them from doing anything. Said Matthew Wahlberg, a spokesperson for Cook County Sheriff's Tom Dart. The Chicago police and the sheriff's office have put out internal alerts to officers about the possibility of members of a violent El Tran Diego prison gang living among migrants. Officials wouldn't discuss those alerts. And now, why aren't they telling us about this? Because if they're warning the police officers, if they're giving them a heads up, should they not be giving the same exact heads up to everybody? Why are they so special? Why are they not letting the public know, look out for this, look out for that? It says in late October, a Venezuelan man arrested on a charge of beating up his girlfriend in one of the migrant tents, outside the Near West Police District station at 1412 S Blue Island Avenue. Man, they have no fear of police stations. No fear. They literally beating up their girls outside in the tent. What could you be arguing with your girlfriend outside in the tent with? That's my sleeping bag. Get out. And then start beating her. Like, what? Get out of my sleeping bag. Like, what could you be arguing with in the tent? And then you're at a police station. I mean, they have literally no chill. They'll do it anywhere. They said, we about it. We do it in the police station, outside the police station, to the police. Don't matter. Okay? Anybody can get these hands anytime, is what they're saying. Okay? Then it says, had tattoos that resemble those worn by the gang, according to the Chicago Police Alert. Now, we are getting somewhere with this, because this goes into Brandon's Reparations Subcommittee committee thing, whatever he's doing. This all ties in together. This is very relevant. It says, the gang's tattoo include a skull with a gas mask and an AK-47 rifle, according to the alert, which said that its members wear Michael Jordan number 23 jerseys because the gang's anniversary is January 23. Everybody's trying to be like us, man. We're so copied. Everything we do. We got Venezuelan gangs sitting up there rocking Michael Jordan jerseys. Lord have mercy. You can't tell me we are not the most copied people on the face of the world. You don't see a black gang copying no Venezuelan nothing, but they copying Michael Jordan. I swear, man, our influence is global. It really is. It's going on to say, a separate Cook County sheriff's alert said investigators have learned that members of the prison gang are in the Chicago area. Kyle Williamson, former head of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration office in El Paso, Texas, calls the gang, quote, a huge criminal threat. They are coming in across the border, says Williamson, who runs the West Texas Anti-Gang Center. We are seeing them. But Williamson says he didn't know whether the gang has a presence in Chicago. Quote, I think we are a while away from seeing their true impact, he says. It takes time to get organized. The United States' poor diplomatic relationship with the Venezuelan government makes it nearly impossible for the U.S. law enforcement officials to get warnings about members such as gangs, Williamson says. Well, if it makes it too impossible, then they all need to go. They all need to leave. If the United States government, first off, that's a lie. But if the United States government can't tell, then you need to go. They can't take no 50-50 chance. They can't take that chance. They can't. Why would you put the United States people at that risk of finding out the hard way whether you're allowing foreign gang members, prison gang members in your country? Why would you allow that? Why? Then it says, and then it's a little bit more, but we're going to stop it right here because there's still other stuff we got to cover. It says, he says many young Venezuelan members in El Trandiaga lean against getting those gang tattoos because they don't want to be recognized as members. He also says a crown is not a symbol of a gang, as the police department suggested. CNN reported Thursday that the U.S. Border Patrol says it has detained 38 possible members of the Argena train throughout 6 sectors between August 2022 and the same month of 2023. Now, y'all, this is what's going on, and people are upset about it, justifiably. People are very upset about it. People are very outraged about this because y'all just dismissing them. Y'all not really vetting them. Y'all not really saying anything about this. Y'all not even warning the public. Anytime the public comes up and says, hey, these people are committing crimes. Hey, something needs to happen. The police aren't doing anything. Y'all tell us, well, look at the kids sleeping on the police station floors. Look at all the babies. What do you think about that? I mean, we got to have some type of heart, some type of sympathy. Luckily, though, we're not really seeing that. They're not seeing the heart and the sympathy that they want to see. And this is very relevant. Now, this was posted. It's gone like super viral all over Twitter. Shout out to Brother Nas. He posted this saying, it's happening, y'all. This sister is speaking raw truth. She literally corrected herself in the moment. She went from saying migrants to illegal foreign nationals. Real Black Americans in Chicago are done with the open border Democrats. Yeah. And I ain't even gonna get mad at the sister for making that mistake. I made that mistake one time. I literally made that mistake one time, and I had to kind of circle back and correct myself because it gets said so often. When you're like at the moment and you don't have like a script in front of you, sometimes you can make that mistake. So I ain't even mad at her. I give her a pass for that mistake. Let's listen.
This morning, I heard Mayor Brandon Johnson say that the sentiment in the Black community is waning. A lie. The sentiment is not waning. We are not okay with you taking our resources and giving them to people who don't live here. As Mark stated before, you are preparing housing for them. One of the reasons that the city of Chicago was able to close 50 schools was because of the Black Flight. And the reason we had a Black Flight was because there is no affordable housing in this city. It is because the city of Chicago shut down the voucher system so that blacks who needed to get affordable housing could not. So they had no choice but to flee to other states. But now you found money for the migrants.
That's right.
We're calling foul. And then another thing you said was that the faith-based leaders were helping to bring around the sentiment. We haven't paid attention to faith-based leaders since Dr. Martin Luther King. And guess what? We're not listening to them now. We understand that they are bought and paid for. We understand that you control the narrative that they are trying to speak about. So let me just say this to you. We're not listening to them the same way we're not listening to you. What you're doing is not okay. And let me just say this other thing. Emerson Park is still closed. And our mayor has decided that because we didn't support migrants coming to our park, we just ain't gonna have a park. I call foul, Mayor. You love to stand around and talk about how you're a black man. That's all you are, is a black man. And we know that all black folks ain't skin folks. And those of us who didn't know that, you're giving us a great lesson. So we thank you for that. No, the sentiment has not changed. We are still for black people. We are still for this city supporting us. We're still for black people getting the same set-asides that these migrants are getting. Oh, excuse me, not migrants, because what they are is illegal foreign nationals. They are not migrants. They are not coming here illegally. So just because you put lipstick on a pig, it's still going to be a pig.
Yeah.
So we are not backing down. We were quiet for a minute. I know you thought that the sentiment has changed. It has not. And like I tried to remind people, not only did I support Brandon Johnson, not only did I campaign for Brandon Johnson, not only did I give him my money, but I want you to know two things. Number one, I'm not a fan. I have buyer's remorse. Number two, for any independent candidate in the city of Chicago, any Green Party candidate in the city of Chicago, and any Republican candidate in the city of Chicago, now is your time, because we are done with the Democratic Party. Brandon Johnson, Governor Pritzker, and President Biden have showed us what they think about the black community all over this country. And so we're standing here today to say, okay, if that's what it is, we with it. We don't have to support the Democratic Party. Right. We don't have to continue to support people who are not going to support us. And the Democratic Party here in this city, in this state, and in this country is not supporting us. You got the Republicans on one side and the Democrats on the other side. Guess what? They're part of the same bird.
That's right. With two wings.
So it doesn't matter anymore which party we go with. But I'll tell you this, I'd rather deal with the snake that's outfitting himself of the Republican Party than the snake that's covered up in the Democratic Party.
That's right.
We're not going to continue to stand for this. We're not going to continue to allow our state representatives, our congressmen, our aldermen, and our mayor to let us know that we don't matter.
Yes.
Just like you're going to show us that we're going to matter, we're going to show you. It's going to be a great day in the city of Chicago when a Democratic convention comes here, and then they found out in March that a lot of black voters took Republican ballots.
Hey, first off, I love every bit from literally from the beginning to end. Every bit of that. Okay, every bit. Somebody was all like, she sounded like she listened to the New Black Media. I'm pretty sure she does, because she was literally on point from start to finish. I fully get behind everything she said. Everything she said, start to finish. She didn't stutter. It wasn't vague. It wasn't we shall overcome. It was direct. It was powerful. She didn't get into emotional. It was clear. This is what you do. What she did right there. This is how you deliver your message anytime you're in front of a camera and you got to represent for the people and for the problems that you're going through, you do exactly what she did. 100% A plus, one flawless. That was perfect. That was absolutely perfect. That was, I can't say it better. I couldn't have said that better. Perfect. All right. Say, yeah, you think because we left, the sentiment has changed. So now what Brandon is doing, because he knows, and we've been talking about this, we've been documenting this, what Brandon is doing, because he knows that Chicago is kind of like the Black Chicago is turning against him as far as the situation with the migrants go, the illegals, or what our sisters say, the illegally foreign nationals. I think that's what she said. Right? So what he's doing is he is placating Black Chicagoans with reparations. And I made a tweet about it because I wanted to bring up two little tweets that he mentioned. The first tweet was earlier this month on the 7th. It says, among recommendations for this is the 2024 budget. Okay, the FY24 budget is an amendment that provides funding for a new commission on restoration and reparations. Okay. My administration will work with the aldermanic, sorry, my bad. I must tongue twisting. Aldermanic Black Caucus. I keep trying to pronounce that. You can't say it fast. The Aldermanic Black Caucus to identify, listen to the key words, to identify a subcommittee within City Council to support its commission's work. What does that mean? What is that? What does that mean? What does that mean? You're going to fund, your administration is going to work with select people from the Black Caucus, the Aldermanic Black Caucus. So you're going to work with other Black politicians to handpick, that's why they use the word identify, to cherry pick people for a subcommittee within the City Council to support its commission work. That's quite literally what he said. While they're sitting up there coming from another country, getting free stuff off rip. You don't even know who they are. You're giving prison gang members money just for breaking into your country and breaking into your city. They're breaking into your stores. They're breaking into people's cars and all of that, stabbing people in police stations, and they just getting paid for it. And you're sitting up there talking about you next. Mind you. This, he's talking about this is going on the budget next year. Y'all, them illegal aliens are getting paid today, yesterday, and the day before, while you sitting up there trying to calculate your checks so you can make sure all your bills are paid on time. They coming over, they don't got to worry about a damn thing because all of that is getting provided for them, and they're getting money just off rip. Just go spend something. In case you run out of money for spending, if you rob, we're gonna let you go. But so you don't rob as much, here's some money so you can buy some stuff. They're literally doing that. But they're telling us that next year, and the fiscal stuff, that happens like in the summertime. So next summer, he's going to fund some people. He's going to work with his administration so he can talk to his administration to cherry pick certain people for a subcommittee that you guys know is going to be hell off code. He's going to identify some people for some subcommittee so they can work on the committee so we can have the conversation about reparations. I'm going to tell you, in the next 15 years, we're really going to get there, y'all. We're really going to get there in the next 15 years or so. Then somebody else says something. He makes another tweet about it. Now we're going to read this article because there's a lot of shit right here. Controlled opposition. But we're going to read right here. It says, our FY24 budget provides funding for a new commission on restoration and reparations. Is there a commission on illegal aliens? Is there a commission on what you guys claim to be asylum seekers? Why are we the only people who, anytime we need something done, is like, hold on, let me check the paperwork, let me get to the books. You know this is going to cost money now. Hold on, wait. It's Friday. We open on Monday at 8 o'clock. You leave a message. We'll send you an email back. Come on now. We're the only people they do that with. Everybody else off rip. Just get it. You don't even gotta listen to me, y'all. These people are literally not even having to ask for anything. They don't even have to ask. They just come over and it's like, here you go, take this goodie bag and here you go. Here's a nice little tent. You didn't buy it, I did. Here you go. Sleep in that until we build you a new house. But this is what he's doing with us. So we got something else. So we're going to really kind of look. So I actually went to the website. Where was it? Is it this one? Yeah. So I went to the website to look up what's in the budget. Because I know in a tweet, some people be like, no, in a tweet, it's you only have certain amount of characters in a tweet. So you got to be a little bit, okay, all right. Okay, fine. Let's go to the website and look. So the budget he pushed was for $16.77 billion for what they call the people's budget. Okay. So we got a lot of things on here, but when you go all the way to the bottom, because we're all the way to the bottom, when you go all the way to the bottom, then you can see what he's talking about at the bottom. What a coincidence is at the bottom too, but okay. Let's not be cherry picky here, right? Let's not be cherry picky, right? Okay. The equity. The principles of equity are found throughout this budget. From the equity line replacement program and lead service line replacement to the overall focus on directing investments towards historically disinvested communities. Okay, what does that mean? Historically disinvested communities. What in the first sentence, when you talk about what does this mean? Oh, hold on. You see the word reparations, so you know it's gonna pop up eventually. Right? It says, through a budget amendment, this budget now provides over $500,000 for a new commission. Now the city of Chicago alone has spent millions of dollars of dollars on people they don't know, illegals who are coming over here, illegal nationals who are coming over here, millions. We get $500,000 for a new commission. It's not like this money is getting dispersed throughout Black Chicago and everybody gets a check or anything like that. This is for the commission. So we're not getting paid. The commission is getting paid. This is the commission's money, not our money. This is their money. Okay. But what's the commission on? Restoration and reparations. Okay. It says the Johnson administration will work with the Aldermanic Black Caucus to identify a subcommittee within City Council that will use the funding to leverage consultants and other leverage consultants and other contractors to support the commission's work. What does that mean? What does that? I'm literally like, listen, yo. What does that mean? What does that mean? What? Okay, I took it off. I gotta show it to you guys again because I need your help to help me figure out what the hell he was talking about. Okay. So he says the commission for reparations, 500,000. Wow. Okay. The Johnson this is the official Chicago.gov website, y'all. This is the Chicago.gov website. The Johnson administration will work with the Aldermanic Black Caucus to identify a subcommittee within the city council that will use the funding to leverage consultants and other contractors to support the commission's work. Y'all, he's not going. Y'all. It would have been honestly less disrespectful if he not said anything at all. If he not honestly, it would have been less disrespectful if Johnson just said, "Hey, I ain't gonna do nothing for y'all. Just leave me alone." That honestly would have been less disrespectful to be like, "Hey, y'all, what I'm gonna do next year, not this year. Y'all just stay tight. Find a way to pay your bills till then. Next year, I'm gonna give money to my folks." And my folks is going to find some people that we choose. And those people are going to make a group. And that group is going to use the money to pick other people to have them come on board and support what the group does. I told y'all I got y'all back, right? Come on now. Literally. That doesn't mean anything. He thinks that putting the word reparations in there is going to make somebody go like, yay, reparations. See, we are so advanced in the movement now that even when we see the word reparations, we look at the fine print. We're not like, oh my God, reparations, I can't believe it. We're close. We don't even look at it that way anymore. We're sitting up there looking at the word reparations like, okay, well, what does everything else say? What did it? You can't just put reparations on a piece of paper in a headline, in a budget and everything like that, and then think that that's going to placate Black society. It's not going to work anymore. When you put reparations in there, then we sitting up there looking at you say reparations, and then you talking about $500,000 for a committee, for a subcommittee to select individuals from the Black Caucus to help consultants and contractors pick, like, then you start getting into that word salad. It completely destroys what you put before. When you say reparations, that's only so we can be like, see, we're getting somewhere. That's exactly why. Shout out to Patrick for the 199 super chat. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. There's still more to cover, y'all. There's still more to cover. We ain't even got to the biggest thing yet. We haven't even got to the biggest thing. All right. So this is why I'm telling you that the situation with the migrants connects with this, because you got controlled opposition. And we've been talking about this for the longest time. Controlled opposition. All right. Who's trying to act like they advocate for reparations, but really they are opportunists. They are obstructionists in the reparations movement. So let's look at this. Okay. It says, my grandfather, Columbus Taylor, fled the racial violence of Jim Crow in Arkansas during the 1930s. Excuse me. His journey and legacy is symbolic of a larger narrative of Black struggle and migration to Chicago. To this day, the city of Chicago has refused to acknowledge and commit to repairing the harms that people like my grandfather experienced. His history and experience are deeply relevant to everyone in our city who wants to understand the current migrant crisis in the U.S. This is why I made my 5 points, because I knew where they were going with that. I made my 5 points because I knew what they were going. They're going to start using their bootlicks and their controlled opposition to get up here and say, hey, my grandfather came from the Great Migration, and I can tell you on my behalf, the Great Migration is the same thing the migrants are going through. We got to stick together with our black and brown brothers and sisters of people of color. I knew it. That's why I made that list. Because I saw, okay, this is going on in a little think tank. Too many people are bringing that point up at the same time too frequently. That means that it was given to them from the higher ups to say, use that connection. That's the reason. So that's why I was all like, I need to debunk that now. And we're going to get into that even further. All right. So he's talking about the migrant crisis when he brings up his grandfather. He goes on to say, my grandfather's journey to Chicago was part of the Great Migration, which saw approximately 6 million Black people leave the South between the 1910s and the 1970s. The Great Northern Drive, a campaign spearheaded by the Chicago Defender, encouraged many Black Southerner migrants to head north. The Defender highlighted jobs with better wages in factories, much different from the agricultural sector of the South. The leading African-American newspaper also pitched homes with running water and basic freedoms that were denied to many Black people in the South. As a result, Chicago drew around 500,000 Black Southerner migrants. Chicago didn't embrace Black migrants in open arms, yet the city needed their labor to keep the factories profitable. Upon arrival, Black Southern migrants, he's using the word, keep in mind, just peep all of this. He's using the word migrants a lot. He's using the word migrants a lot. Notice that they're doing that. They're starting to do that now. They're really using the word the Black Southern migrants. Now he's not wrong necessarily, but what he's trying to do is he's trying to conflate, well, the Black Southern migrants, and then there's the Hispanic migrants. So we're all really just some different type of migrant. That's what they're trying to do with that. It says, upon arrival, Black Southern migrants faced overcrowded tenements, violence, and entrenched racism. Of course, yeah, we all know that. It says the breaking point came on July 27th, 1919, when Eugene Williams, a Black teenager, drowned at a segregated Lake Michigan beach after his assailant, George Stabber, a 24-year-old white male, hit him in the head with a stone. To be totally honest with you, in that situation, it wasn't just George. Everybody wants to be all like, man, it was just a racist white kid. It was a bunch of white people. Not just, I wouldn't even call them kids. It was a bunch of white people. Not he said hit him with a stone. He didn't just hit him with a stone. The kid was in the water. The Black kid, Eugene, he was in the water, and he accidentally swam to the, I guess, segregated side of the beach. And a whole bunch of white folks, not just one, started throwing stones at him. And he couldn't swim to shore because people kept throwing stones at him, and he wound up drowning. Okay, so that's, if we're going to tell the truth, if we're going to tell the history, let's tell the whole history. All right, that's what happened. But it continues. It says, now remembered as the Red Summer, because that sparked a wild thing. Okay. Now remembered as the Summer, Williams' death marked the beginning of a week-long spree of violence led by a white racist mob, leaving 23 Black Chicagoans dead, 342 Black people injured, and many others homeless. Yeah, I mean, the Red Summer, that could be its own other video, to be very honest with you. You know what? Shout out to our brother Torian Rain, in his Black Massacre series. Torian Rain covered that really well. So if you guys might just be hearing about the Red Summer, you guys should go over to his page, because he covered that in his Black Massacre series. And that's a really good way to get the true insight information about what happened with that. So it continues though. It says narratives fueled by narratives fueled. I said fueled. Narratives fueled by Sacri scarcity reminisce the red summer are renewed in today's Latina. Listen, y'all. To today's Latina X migrant crisis. They're saying it's reminiscent. It's renewed in Latina X migrant crisis. Let's find out how they're doing that. With little regard for the reason of the past, racial tension and unrest appear at times to be perpetuated by media coverage. The black community in Chicago, now he was talking about his grandfather and what his grandfather went through and all of the stuff that our people had to go through. Then he's going to bring up the illegal Hispanics. It says, the black community in Chicago has endured a long history of suffering, from chattel slavery to modern day mass incarceration. Current statistics reveal stark disparities for black people in employment, life expectancy, home ownership, education funding, and incarceration rates. Okay. Many are struggling to make ends meet. What the hell they got to do with that then? Take a sip of my tea in my For the Culture cup. Everything's so delicious in this cup. You guys should get it. So he tries to tie them in loosely. Now, but listen though. Then he says the call for reparations. This is why I'm saying they're trying to tie the reparations thing in with their thing. To move forward, the city of Chicago must address both the systematic historical harm inflicted upon the black community and the current pressing migrant crisis. Putting the struggles of black communities against those of today's migrants is a false dichotomy. These crises have distinct origins and should not be conflated. The black community did not create borders or the economic crisis that forced the current Latina X migration. The U.S. foreign policy did. Similarly, migrants are not responsible for the systematic injustice experienced by the black community. Do y'all see how they are like, this person is literally tying in our legitimate racism in the city to people who left their country and just got over here for the bag. Y'all see that, right? This is why I had to come up with those 5 points. This is why I had to. We're going to do a refresher on it, okay? It says, the responsibility of Chicago, therefore, is twofold. The city must commit to reparations for the black community, addressing the historical injustice that persists to this day. According to WTTW, a Chicago City Council subcommittee on reparations was formed in 2022, but had only met twice as of January 2022. 2020, I said, but it only met twice. That's literally okay. Subcommittee. All right, though. Simultaneously, the city must uphold its duty. It must uphold its duty to ensure safety and dignity for all migrants seeking refuge. It must. In fact, previous administrations had truly committed to reparations. The city of Chicago would already have remedies in place to ensure recent migrants don't suffer the hardship that many black Southern migrants experienced during the Great Migration. This is why I made those points, because I knew they were going there with this. That's why I kept saying, notice how he keeps calling the black Chicagoans migrants. These migrants, because he's saying, well, migrants, and then notice he's going to use black Southern migrants and then Hispanic Southern migrants. They're all migrants. We're all migrants, and Chicago got to do right by both of us. That's what they got to do, right by both of us. I knew they were going there with this. And what does he mean? If they would have gave us reparations, these migrants wouldn't be having a hard time. Well, what does that mean? They gonna get some of my money? What does that mean? We was gonna set it up for them or something? What do you think was gonna happen when we got our reparations? What does that mean? They wasn't getting nothing. This man literally said, if the city of Chicago we would already have remedies in place to ensure the recent migrants don't suffer. Suffer for what? First off, it's very, very, I got to get this off the screen because I really got to talk to y'all with this. It is incredibly disrespectful. Number one, it's so very disrespectful. The fact that you're even going to mention the Red Summer, where a innocent black child was murdered by white supremacists, really, and then a white mob really went to war in Chicago, where black people were dying and injured and houses burned down, and you're comparing that legitimate situation, a summer, a terrible, horrific summer, you're comparing that to them sleeping on the floor of a police station. That's what you're comparing that to. And saying if we get they wouldn't have to suffer the way black Southerners suffered. They haven't. They have not. They haven't gone through a single thing. They've just been they have literally just been uncomfortable. That is all, and only some of them, because other ones been committing crimes. They've been getting bags. They've been working. They've been doing everything. The only thing that they've been going through is slight discomfort in the cold because they're not used to the cold. That is the only thing they've been going through. Is literally cold weather. And the fact that you could fix, I guess, your hands to type, that is comparable to the Red Summer is not only disrespectful to your grandfather, the one you said came over here, but to every single black American, and especially the ones in Chicago. So, going on to say, reparations as defined by the United States or the United Nations include restoration. Oh, boy, I just can't. A restoration. Oh, Lord have mercy. I almost don't want to finish this. And the cessation of continuing violence, satisfying those commitments would establish the infrastructure of Chicago to actualize its committed to the city being a sanctuary city. Really? Now look at this, though. I'm telling y'all, this is controlled opposition. It's controlled opposition. This is, who is this? Right, trying to get right here. Now, have we not seen his face before? 300 million reparation line item in budget. What does that mean? Reparations now. Yep. Okay. There go in Cobra. All right, y'all. You see this controlled opposition here? You see the controlled opposition? It says reparations are closer than many of us think. In 2022, the Chicago City Council passed a landmark slavery era disclosure ordinance. The ordinance urged corporations and industries that are doing business with the city to disclose whether they have profited from slavery. Yet by 2022, there was no record that the ordinance had been enforced as intended. In 2020, well, that means there's literally no progress then. If it hasn't been enforced, there's no progress. In 2020, Chicago City Council established a reparations commission. The commission aimed to study the history of harm to Black Chicagoans through local and state policies and create proposals for reparations. So recommendations, y'all. A commission to study recommendations. All right. Later, Mayor Lightfoot reduced the commission to a subcommittee of alders. That's aldermen. Stephanie Coleman and Andre Vasquez currently chair the Reparations Subcommittee. As of 2022, the committee needed additional funding. Without funding, what y'all need funding for? What y'all have done to need funding? What have y'all done to need funding? Somebody says basically HR 40. Yeah, basically HR 40. That's pretty much it. HR 40. So it says they needed more funding. Without funding, the really real issue of reparations for Black Chicagoans has had little to no progress. Y'all ain't had no progress in the years y'all did have funding. So what you need more funding for? It says, importantly, there is still a pathway forward. Okay, let's talk about the pathway forward. All right. It says this path requires the Brandon Johnson administration to advance a robust reparations plan immediately. All right. Okay, cool. Immediate. I like that word. It says the plan must allocate $1 million. Damn, that's not a lot of money. I mean, y'all voted. They got what? $50 million in a month. Chicago gave them $50 million in a month. Yep, he did say Vasquez. You're exactly right. Vasquez, a Hispanic, a part of our reparations subcommittee. They got a Hispanic on there as the chair. You're absolutely right. So, okay. This plan must allocate $1 million annually. That's once a year, annually, in the city budget to fund the reparations committee, so that the committee can conduct as can function. Okay. So the $1 million, that's what they're asking for, just $1 million for the year for the committee, not the people, for the committee. Okay, it doesn't go to the people, it goes to the committee. And the committee is going to function as intended and promptly introduce proposals for repair. Let me read that fast. I slowed it down. Okay, it says this plan must, use the word must allocate $1 million annually in the city budget to fund the reparations committee, so that the committee can function as intended and promptly introduce proposals for repair. So you're giving them $1 million so they can study suggestions. That's what you're doing. That's what they're fighting for. The right to study suggestions. It says, additionally, the Johnson administration must develop and advance the Office of Black Chicagoans and amid the slavery era disclosure ordinance to include an enforced clause to ensure it's being applied as intended. Now, I agree with that. That clause, the slavery era disclosure clause, it should be enforced. I agree. That's the one thing I do agree with. And that money should go to the people, not a committee. But I agree with the fact that it should be enforced. It says historically, Black people in the United States have had one particular demand that state and local governments refuse to satisfy: reparations. I mean, that's not what y'all asking for right now in this thing, though. But okay. It says today, the Johnson administration can meet those demands and advance reparations now. I mean, not really the way y'all talking. It's time for Chicago to acknowledge the pain of the past and to work towards a future of healing, reconciliation, and justice for all all its residents. Okay. All its residents, not just, the Foundation of Black Americans in Chicago, but everybody. Then it says, and it starts with reparations now. Do you guys see? This is the importance of that list. I knew that's what they were going. I knew they were going there with that. I knew it for a fact. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the list one more time. And I'm going to show you. And when I made this list, listen, y'all. When I made this list, do y'all have any idea how many people were mad about this? So many people was leaving comments. So many people was all over. Y'all didn't see some of the comments? Because some of them, when they say certain things, YouTube will automatically delete it. But I can see it through the notification. But folks was mad about this list because it's foolproof. The list is genius. It is literally genius. So, right. And in the thing, it was so genius, in fact, that it prompted a response. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because of the fact that this shows you the legitimacy of those 5 points. I stand 100% on those 5 points, and it's very important that we all stand on those 5 points, because what they're going to do is they're going to try to tie the Great Migration to illegal invasions. That's what they are. They're illegal invaders. The illegal invasion and the Great Migration are two completely different things, and I explained every single 5 of those points to show you the difference. So this is why we say they are not the same. Don't compare us to them. Don't compare what we went through to what they're going through, because that's what they're trying to do. Because that's the only way you can give them any form of legitimacy, is to make what they went through or what they're going through similar to what we went through. That's why I came up with the 5 points, to say it is not the same whatsoever. So you have people who are upset about it. So this person, and I'm doing this not to start no beef, not to start any beef, because I'm going to be very honest. This person, the radical Latino, who responded to my 5 points, was actually respectful to a certain degree. He called me a clone of Tariq Nasheed, but okay. To a certain degree, he was. He didn't call me out my name, and I'm not going to call him out his name. He addressed my 5 points, and I'm going to stand on my 5 points. And I'm going to show you how legitimate it is. Now, he's actually made a video about me before. I didn't address it because I'm not trying to sit up there and be in no YouTube beef. But I'm going to address this because it shows you the importance of those 5 points and why they're trying to dismantle it so bad. So he goes.
Oh, it says it right here. The Great Migration was one of the largest movements of people in the United States history. Approximately 6 million people moved from America's South to the North, Midwest, and Western states, roughly from 1910s until the 1970s. Now, historians had a somewhat of a debate, but they pretty much come to a conclusion where it did stop and begin again, because there was 2 periods. There was one where it began like around 1910, and I believe it stopped around the 30s or 40s, I believe so, and then it picked up again, but very, 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 very largely it picked up again and continued. So again, this is what the Great Migration is for the people who might not.
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to where he starts talking in my points, because the video is like 30 minutes. I'm not going to sit up there and let the whole. I'm going to get to the points where he's addressing my points, and I'm going to stand on them.
Migration, yeah. According to your logic, immigrants fled. Y'all moving from one place to another place that's not yours. According to your own logic, y'all fleeing too. But okay.
5 points, and we're going to be very thorough. We're going to break everything down. We're going to use historic reference to discuss how that's not the same thing. Because what they're doing is they say, hey, you can't really be mad at us. We're doing the same thing y'all did. You know, so if y'all did it, if it's cool with y'all, it should be cool with us. That's what they're trying to do. And they're trying to make some type of commonality of what they're doing and what our ancestors have done. So the very first thing that I want to kind of discuss a little bit is Jean Baptist, Jean DeSum.
Okay.
Now this is when I talk about Chicago. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
Which is called fleeing. All right. So point number one, actually, I want to get this off the screen. So that point number one was that slavery built the entire country, not only the South. A lot of people undertell how significant slavery was to the entire country. Slavery was all over the country. It was not just in the South. It wasn't just in Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, the Carolinas. Slavery was all over the place. So we're going to look up some history about how slavery was not only building other places in the North, slavery was a essential part of the North for a long period of time.
Let me just say real quickly, he's correct, but also incorrect in the same time. Yeah, slavery did build the majority of America, but it wasn't black slavery only. Let's keep it 1,000. America at that time, even during World War I, it wasn't an economic power the way it is now. Let's be completely honest right now. So if slavery built America the way they say they did, you know what I mean? It would have been an economic powerhouse. It wasn't. America was still, like, I believe, number 6 or number 5 in the economic power hold of the world. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that you can't say slavery built America if only America was them 13 colonies. There was nothing more that was actually gathered during that time. Now, when America was expanding and America was taking over, Midwest, the West, and everything else, you had other individuals like Latinos who were given access to come over here and do the sharecropping and do the labor work and all this other stuff, because it was extremely beneficial and cost effective to have them people there than to bring a bunch of Africans from the North, bring them all the way. Come on now. We got to be historically accurate here. You know what I'm saying? We got to be historically accurate. But also, he is right that slavery from the East Coast type of impact, it did build, but it didn't build it the way they wanted to say that it built. And what he is doing right now is he's trying to compare that Black Americans
First
build
off,
something.
Hold on. Lord, I gotta take a break. Okay, hold on.
And y'all coming into the house, we already built with our blood, sweat, and tears and all that other stuff. Dude, relax. You know what I'm saying? Nobody needs to be kissing your feet and all that, because it's not that serious. All right. Nobody is coming to America wanting to disrespect Black Americans or whatever the case is. I know y'all think that is the center of the universe, but calm down. You know what I'm saying? So it goes into this whole spiel like cotton was king, all this other BS. And I just want to move on to point number 2 that he makes. And it's very interesting.
Now, before he gets to point number 2, do you guys literally see how he stretched? Y'all, I'm telling you, it's like this the whole time. It is like that the entire time. Well, slavery built America, but it didn't build America that much. It built it, but it wasn't that much built. You know what I'm saying? What? And then notice when he was all like, he brings up cotton is king. Yeah, we just gonna skip past that part. Yeah, let me get to part 2. Yes, because first off, we're gonna start with the fact that when people make the argument, well, America wasn't a powerhouse, so what? It doesn't matter. America was not a country. We are the slaves made it into a country. It was built, the foundation of America was built by Black enslaved people. That is the truth. Is either 100% true or is 100% not true. By the time anybody else started immigrating to America, America was already an established country. It doesn't matter if it was a powerhouse country or not. If you have a building and you first need the foundation of the building. If you have a building and it only has 2 floors, the first floor, that's the foundation, and then the second floor, one right above it. No basement, none, just the first and the second floor. If you build a 3rd floor and a 4th floor, you can't say, well, it's not the 1st floor that's the foundation. It's really the 2nd floor that's the foundation. No, it's the 1st floor. The foundation of something doesn't change the more you layer it up. So it doesn't matter when America, quote unquote, became a powerhouse country. America would have never been a country without the enslavement, without enslaved black folks. So that means anything, quite literally anything America accomplished after becoming a country is due to the foundation of the slaves. That is it. You can't say, well, no, it was really, then he tried to crowbar himself into the history and his people. It was really the Latinos coming over here doing all of the sharecropping. When? Where? What are you talking? What Latinos was they coming over here after the country was built doing sharecropping? Where was that at? Y'all built the country? Who built it then? Because it wasn't, because that's the thing of they want to discredit us and then they want to give credit to everybody. Well, it was really everybody. The America, it was really the 13 colonies. First off, that's incorrect. Okay. That's not true. That's incorrect. America, we didn't just build the 13 colonies. Okay. There were slaves all over everywhere. All right. In every part of everywhere there were slaves. So it wasn't just the 13 colonies. And then when they started even expanding, the only reason they were able to get the finances to expand was because of the economy that was built off of slaves. If the foundation is the economy that was built with the free labor that was gained through the free labor of the slaves, then everything else goes back to the foundation. You trace the dominoes falling down all the way back to the first domino. If enslaved black people, if foundational black Americans are the first domino, every other domino is affected by the first domino. You don't change the first domino. No, it's not really the first domino that knocked the 5th one down. It was the 4th one that knocked the 5th one down. Don't matter. It don't matter. It don't matter how you want to spin it. There wouldn't have been no America. Y'all didn't come into America was an established country. It don't matter when America became a powerhouse. And let's be honest, America, cotton was king. America sold I think it was 1/3 at least of the world's cotton. America was quite literally one of the newest fasting growing countries in the world at that time, where all of the world was essentially poor. America was the cotton in America, the slavery in America was the thing that was making Europe a powerhouse. It was making Europe rich. That's the thing. So what is he even doing? Okay. Well, he doesn't stop. So he goes on to
check this out.
From fleeing. Okay, that's literally part 1. So we're going to move on to part 2, which is right here. Okay. The Great Migration was still under the U.S. government. All right. So when I say the Great Migration, that's part 2. When I say the Great Migration was still under the U.S. government, I mean the Great Migration didn't extend to Canada. The Great Migration didn't extend to Mexico or any of these other places. The Great Migration was literally this right here. Okay. This is the map of what the Great Migration was. As you can see, the Great Migration, these arrows were pointing from the south. These arrows were not pointing to Mexico, and these arrows were not pointing to Canada. Okay, you can see.
What he's trying to basically say right here is that it wasn't illegal for them to move from state to state. That's basically what he's trying to say. It wasn't illegal for them to move from state to state, so they're not immigrants or whatever the case is. They're not fleeing from another place because it's still United States, which is the most ridiculous thing I could ever even hear. First of all, there was a lot of sundown towns, not only in the South but also in the North. So it was illegal for Black Americans to go into a part of a neighborhood or whatever the case is, regardless where you came from. You could have been born in that same neighborhood. If that neighborhood is a sundown town, you're done. You feel me? So there was certain parts that's illegal, but that's a reach. I don't want to go there and say all that. What I'm gonna say is,
he even knows his point. He even knows his point is nonsense. That's why he said, "Well, you know, I don't even want to go there. I don't," because he knows that's not even a point to make. Yeah, well, I really don't want to even go there.
That he is reaching right now to the point that he said, "Well, it wasn't illegal because it was still under the same government." Fam, that like I said, that's dumb. They're migrating. This map is showing that they're fleeing. Look, a bunch of people from Florida fled to New York. A bunch of people from Alabama fled to Buffalo. Like, it shows it right there. Look at all the arrows. The arrows are showing where they fled to. You know what I'm saying? It shows it where they fled to. Like, come on now. Come on now.
Okay, get that off. First off, the whole sundown town thing, he doesn't stick to his landing on that. He makes that point and he doesn't go back to it. He's like, I'm gonna leave that alone because he knows he's not going anywhere with that. Okay, my point was not the fact that it wasn't illegal to migrate. It wasn't. My point was the fact that we are in the same country. We're in the same country. That was the point. Not that it was illegal or legal. It was the point that it's the same country. We didn't have to get a new citizenship anywhere because we're still the citizens of the same country. That was the point. With them, that's not the point, because they're leaving a completely different country and going to a completely different government, and they're going to have to get new citizenship. That's not anything any Black American had to do with the Great Migration. You did not have to get any new citizenship. So that point, I mean, he just lost with that one. And I'm doing this to show you guys, this is the importance of those 5 points. Those 5 points are very, very important. It's so important. You got people trying to debunk it. If it wasn't important, if those 5 points were not important, he wouldn't have cared. He wouldn't be trying to debunk the points. He's trying to debunk the points because those points are foolproof. He's trying to debunk the points because when articles, and that's why I brought it up, I didn't even recognize this video until recently. Well, he made it recently, but I was planning on bringing up the 5 points like a few days ago before he even made this video. So it just perfectly connects that they're trying to tie the migration with the Great Migration. They're trying to tie the illegal Hispanics coming over here with the Great Migration. All right. I was going to bring up the 5 points regardless. And then he made this video. So I was all like, it's kind of divine. I got to bring him up now. But I'm showing you this to show you this is how important the 5 points are. Otherwise, they would have left it alone.
And the funny thing is, the Great Migration, check this out. Read the part of it. It even says migrants moved from rural communities to large cities. Migrants? Like, come on. Like, yo, you got, man. But this escapes these FBA individuals because they're just so focused on, on making themselves feel great and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to move it to I believe 3. His point number 3. I want to really just check this out because it's interesting.
We were already a citizen. We're not an immigrant in a country that we were already a citizen in. That's literally the definition. All right. So to discuss, we got to break all that stuff down. Now we're going to go to point number 3. The purpose was for economic opportunity, not to escape racism. A lot of people are talking about there was sanctuary and all that stuff in these places. There was absolutely no sanctuary in the northern states. I just earlier discussed how the northern states were just as brutal as the southern states were. A lot of people talk about the brutality of the southern states because a lot of that was very much so documented. Most of the slaves were in the southern states because that's where the plantations were.
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit to his response to me, but essentially I was saying that it wasn't like, oh, I gotta escape the racism of the South, let me go to the North where it's free, the racism is free. That's not what happened. That's what I was saying. So his response to it,
it is what it is. Up north, the racism was, like he said, was less documented. He is correct on this. He is correct. But the majority of the reason, if you did speak to people back then, due to the fact that it was less documented, one of the reasons, not the main reason, but one of the reasons to move from the South up north is less racism. There's still racism. I'm still going to experience it, but it's less racism. I even have an article, or not an article, well, part of a Wikipedia thing right here. Check it out. The driving force behind the mass migration was to escape racial violence, pursue economic and educational opportunities, and obtain freedom from the oppression of Jim Crow. Again, Jim Crow was mainly in the South. Mainly in the South. Up north, in the northern states, Jim Crow didn't affect black folks like that. Actually, there were certain states, you can say, certain states didn't have Jim Crow laws whatsoever, and they would be considered sanctuaries.
where? That's my only response to that. Where was the sanctuary city for Black Americans during the Great Migration? Where? Because he doesn't name a city, and this doesn't either. So where? That's my question. If he knows and I don't, where was that?
You could say that, but that'll be a reach, right? So, all right, cool. But that was one of the reasons, not the main reasons, but one of the reasons. The main number one reason was economic opportunity. And guess who also migrates because of economic opportunity? Oh, immigrants. Oh my God. Wow. Oh shit. Am I connected?
Yeah, he is. He's very correct. And the funny thing about that is, what's so funny about that is, that's my point. Because you can't say you're leaving for economic opportunity and you're an asylum seeker, because by definition, by you saying you're an asylum seeker, you're pretty much saying you're leaving because of like an oppressive system or political thing going on in your government. It's oppressing the people in your city. Okay, that's what you mean to be seeking asylum in another city, in another country. All right, you can't say, no, I'm coming here to get the bag. Okay, if that's the case, which of course it is, if that's the case, you're not an asylum seeker. That was my point. My point is, y'all coming up here and y'all want to talk about it's so bad in my homeland. No, y'all coming up here to get paid. They're lying. He just confessed. He don't even know. He just confessed. He's like, oh yeah, they're coming here to get the bag. That's exactly what I said. He doesn't even know. He just agreed. He's thinking he's disagreeing, but he's not. He doesn't know he agreed. He doesn't even know it. He sees this.
But this is the
Great Migration was beneficial to the country. And the difference with that is that it's not like, oh my God, we need a savior. We need a savior. Oh my God. Well, what are we going to do? We need so much help and all that. No, there was, and I'm going to show it to you guys now because we're going to have 100. We're going to be very sharp after this. Okay. The history is going to be very, very clear after this. Now, around the time when the Great Migration was going on, historians somewhat debate on the beginning of it, but a lot of people say that was around 1910. So if you notice, or if you guys know the history of that, it was a lot of
Now,
World War One happened 4 years after what they necessarily in 19.
See, I'm gonna skip forward a little.
Black American labor, for manufacturing, automobiles, food in the streets, and factory jobs, and that is true. That stayed and economically boomed the country, because when you have more labor force, the more money you put into the economy, the more money the economy expands. You know who also does that? Because he's trying to prove that only Black Americans do this. No, immigrants today do this as well. They put money back into the economy, illegal or legal. If you don't believe me, look it up your damn selves. There's a lot of illegal immigrants that actually do pay taxes because they want to be in good standing with the state that they're in, so they don't get deported. Believe it or not, there was a case. I think back in was it Boston or something like that. There was somebody that was an illegal immigrant that was paying their taxes because they were getting money under the table, but still they were paying their taxes. And when it came for deportation, they said no. And actually, he ended up getting his papers a couple of years later. But they didn't deport him because he was a beneficial part of the country. Believe it or not. I couldn't find the case right now, but you guys look it up. But I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'm sure that case exists. I'm pretty sure that case exists. How? I just want to know how. How is he, if you're illegal and you don't have any paperwork to be here, which is why if you were legal, you would have paperwork. How did you pay your taxes? I'm really curious. How did you, with like no paperwork and you're not legally allowed to be in the country, how did like the government send you, your W-2s and stuff? How did that work? I'm very curious to that, because I know a lot of the people who are illegal, they get paid under the table in cash and things like that because they don't want the government detecting them. So how did that work? But okay. All right. And it was time for deportation. They left him alone because he pays taxes. Oh, is that okay? Some case in Boston that he couldn't pull up. Regardless, though, let's pretend that happened. Let's take his word for it, and let's pretend that happened. Are these illegal immigrants who are here now, the 20,000 of them who are here now, the millions of them who have been coming throughout the years, are they paying taxes? Are the ones I just referred to earlier, the ones who are breaking into Macy's, breaking into Nordstrom's, stabbing people on police stations, robbing people on the street, are they paying taxes? Are the ones sleeping outside in front of the police station and on the police floors and in the airport on O'Hare, are they paying taxes? Or is the government giving them money? Because you can cherry pick one or two incidents of migrants, I guess, aiding to the economy, but that the rule is that they don't, especially not these with the last few years or so. They're not. How can they do that? How can they do that? They don't have any paperwork to work anywhere. So how can they be helping the economy? Explain to me how. Why don't you go? He's from New York. He needs to talk to Eric Adams, because Eric Adams is saying New York is essentially broke because of them. Remember, I played that in my live. He said, "Hey, New York City is kind of broke. We need help, and Biden's not helping." Remember, I said that in my live. How is he able to do that if the migrants are helping the economy? He can't, because they're not helping the economy. You cite one person who might have maybe been from Boston, if he existed, who paid taxes, and that's supposed to make up for all of the other ones who don't pay any taxes and who don't help the economy and who tether off of the resources. Okay. This is his best attempt to debunk my points.
These things has happened. And also, if you guys don't believe me, check this out. Immigrants also make an important contribution to the U.S. economy. Most directly, immigrants increase the potential of economic output by increasing the size of the labor force.
That's not true. Because people talking about labor force, there would be no unemployed people if they needed so much damn labor. There's too many damn unemployed people in the United States for them to need all this labor from immigrants. And notice they're not saying illegal immigrants either.
It happens today.
No,
it still happens today.
No, don't.
So this little thing that he's trying to say that only Black Americans were doing it, and this is the reason why we're separating, because they did something way totally different from immigrants, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, because if you can find the same example in another community, then guess what, homie? You're not unique. You know what I'm saying?
He needs to slow down. He needs to slow down.
Yeah, fled. It's okay to say that. Yeah, fled. You feel me? But let's keep it going to this. I think it was a point. I think it was a point number 5, I believe, 4 or 5. Let's keep it going.
Telecommunications and all that stuff. That's when you saw a surge of the women doing that. Okay, so we understand the history, and we have to understand that. All right, so that's point 4. So point 5, right? There was no aid given in the Great Migration. So when I say there was no aid given, I mean for the fact that we have a lot of them coming over here, these asylum seekers, these migrants. We have a lot of them coming over here. They're coming over. They're getting free places to stay. They're not paying any rent. They're getting free places to stay. They're getting free food, phones, clothes, Wi-Fi. They're given preferential treatment when it comes to employment, when it comes to schools, when it comes to all of that stuff. They're getting preferential treatment. In the South, they were not doing that. I mean, in the Great Migration, I'm sorry. They were not doing any of that.
Okay. This is not true. Actually, this is not true. Let me just say a couple of things first. Migrants, first of all, I didn't know Wi-Fi was such a ubiquitous thing of a society. I didn't know that Wi-Fi was so fucking huge that you cannot get it nowhere. Fam, there's literally free Wi-Fi everywhere. So I didn't think this is something that Black Americans need desperately. Wi-Fi is everywhere. Okay, damn near free. Like, relax. Oh my God, they're getting Wi-Fi. They're getting faster Wi-Fi. Like, come on, bro. Like, what the hell? Now, this goes to show that this. I'm telling you, he's very smart but very ignorant at the same time. This goes to show he just reads news articles, doesn't really read everything else. These migrants who are getting these apartments for free, the clothes for free. The only thing that they're keeping is the clothes.
But let me get to that, because he goes on for a little bit. Let me get to that. He can't debunk what I said, so he attempts to gaslight me. He attempts to be like, when I say free Wi-Fi, their place of residence, where they're staying, the tents that are being set up for them, the $1 million tents that are being set up for them, are being equipped with Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi for them. It doesn't matter how fast the Wi-Fi is. The Wi-Fi here that I'm using to stream to you guys right now live, I have to pay for. There is a bill every month that I have to pay for. And if I do not pay the Wi-Fi bill, the Wi-Fi gets shut off. That is it. I don't get free Wi-Fi. He's all like, well, Wi-Fi is everywhere. Where? Starbucks? McDonald's? Where do you get free Wi-Fi? Give me the plug, because I don't have free Wi-Fi. I have to pay for this. And these people are coming over not having to pay for something that I have to pay for. That is why I brought it up. And he can't debunk that, so he attempts to gaslight. Oh my God, Wi-Fi, well, you're crying about Wi-Fi. Okay. That's what he did. That's what he did. Okay. Now he moves on to another point.
Close. The apartments, it's only temporarily. They're getting kicked out. This is 6 months from now. They're getting kicked out. New York already. So I'm from New York. They're already kicking a lot of migrants out. That's it. It's done. Yes, they, like he said, free phones. Yeah, they're getting free phones. They're not getting iPhones.
Let me get to the kicking the migrants out part. Let me get to that part. They recently started doing that because they have so many. For the first couple years or so, they weren't really doing that. They were just staying in there. Now it's a thing where they're having so many of them, you can only stay for 6 months, and then you have to renew your like policy or whatever the case is to stay again. But that was not always the case. Even if it was, though, even if it was in the Great Migration, there was no, even if it was, I'm trying to tell you, in the Great Migration, there was nowhere where you could go where a black foundational black American could go to Chicago and stay completely free for 6 months. Even if it's only 6 months, it doesn't matter. Half a year. Where could any foundational black American go and stay for 6 months for free? Absolutely free. Where? Because he's trying to gaslight and make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. It is that big of a deal.
Ma'am, they're getting these little cheap fucking burner drug dealer phones. Like, come on, I didn't know y'all want drug dealer phones. This is what y'all bitching about? Come on now. Like, let's keep it real here. Because if that was the case, nobody should be having an iPhone then. If this is what, oh shit, immigrants are getting everything. That the only thing that I do agree with, that I'm kind of baffled about, that immigrants that coming over here, they getting bread. That's the only thing that I'm kind of tight about. I'm like, fam, I bust my ass in this country. I do my job. I do what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, for somebody that literally just came here 2 days ago, having a bank account larger than me, like, what the hell? That's the only thing that I give them, that, which is true, because I'll be like, hey, yo, and mind you, I'm a Latino. You feel me? I'm not getting this. Migrants are getting this, okay? And
now,
and
here's the thing. And then I bring up the fact that they're getting free phones. And he continues, and this shows a level of immaturity in the fact that he can't really debunk my point. He really can't. Because he goes to say, well, it's not like they're free iPhones, though. They're getting free Wi-Fi, but how fast is the Wi-Fi? They're getting free rent, but only for 6 months. They're getting free phones, but they're not the newest iPhone, though. He's skipping over the word free. The word free is the key word, not the quality of the house and the Wi-Fi. That doesn't matter if it's AT&T or Verizon. It doesn't matter if it's the newest iPhone or the newest Samsung. That's not what's important. This man is trying to distract you from the, well, hold on now. Hold on. It's not even an iPhone. You're complaining that they're getting free phones, but they're not iPhones. So what you tripping on? Like, what? They're not. This is literally his argument. When I'm saying they're getting free Wi-Fi, housing, and phones, well, the Wi-Fi is free, but it's not that fast, not the best. The housing, oh, that's only for 6 months, and then they can go back and they have another 6 months. And the phones, they came out in like 2019, so they're not even that new. That is literally what he said. That is literally his argument. And then he agrees, and then he was all like, but they are getting checks, though. They are getting checks, though. He even admits, like, yeah, I'm kind of jealous that they're getting checks and I'm not getting anything. He even admits that himself. They are getting checks. Oh, Lord, y'all. We almost done. Just brace yourself, y'all.
Is that I'm like, hey, yo, how can I benefit from this shit? There's no way. There's no way for me to benefit. But that's not true. So I'm going to show you the aid that Black Americans did get.
Oh, I can't wait. This is my favorite part. The aid that we did get. Because I didn't know we got no aid. This is the part I've been waiting on. What aid did we get with the Great Migration? Let's find this out.
Great Migration. He said it himself too. I think he doesn't understand this. He said it himself during the World War I thing. But I'm gonna show y'all. Check this out. This is the aid. This is the aid that the Great Migration gave Black Americans. African Americans made substantial gains in the industrial employment. particularly in the steel, automobile, shipping, and meat packing industries. Between 1910 and 1920, the number of black employed in the industry nearly doubled from 500,000 to 901,000. That is a benefit. No matter
That's a job. That's a job. That's not a benefit. We are quite literally the only people in the world who gets told, hey, we did give you guys work to do. Shouldn't you be grateful? That's a job. I'm talking about government aid, and he's all like, no, you guys were employed. Ain't that a benefit? No, that's not a benefit. That don't count as an aid. That's not, that is not any more an aid for us than it was for the industries that we were working for. It's a transaction. You get paid to work for an industry. It's not like they were having any set asides like, man, we really got to look out for them. There was no particular bonuses. That is a job. He literally said, I can show you how you guys were aided. Bam, your employment went up. And so did the production in the factories. That's an exchange at best. Talking, that's a job. Okay.
He even said how racist the North was, right? If it was so damn racist, they would be denying all these Black Americans from coming in over here. Let's keep it 1,000. That's what.
No, they wouldn't. He said if they were so racist, they would be stopping us from coming over. No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't let their plants, automobile shipping build. They wouldn't. You mean this dude literally said if they were so racist, they wouldn't allow Black Americans to come over and work for them. What do you think slavery was? That is quite literally the logic of saying if the slave master was really racist, why would he have so many slaves? If he really didn't like Black people, he wouldn't have so many slaves, would he? He couldn't be that racist. That is quite literally that logic. That is literally that logic. If they were racist, why did they allow you to work for them? That's what he just said. That's him debunking me, though. That's him debunking me.
Then do it, but this is the aid that they got. The aid that they got was economic. The aid that they got was jobs. The aid that they got was, okay, you're coming over here, but guess what? Here you go. Here's a job. Migrants are not having that once they step over here. They're not having that. The majority of migrants are not
everything else, though, for free. The stuff that we had to go to work and pay for, they don't have to pay for. So that's what they have.
Getting money the way these certain articles are making it seem. There's only a few. The majority of migrants.
Man just complained about the money. He literally just complained about the money they're getting. And then he's all like, they're not even getting money like that. I see you super chats, brothers and sisters. I see them. I'm going to get to them in a second.
Who are getting caught, they're getting shipped back over. But the thing is, when migrants come over here and they're trying to get a job under the table, don't get mad at the migrant, get mad at the employer. He's the one choosing to employ this individual and not you, because he's choosing to undercut an individual, undercut somebody. That's what he's choosing to do. Don't get mad at him. Get mad at the employer. You feel me? And here's more proof. Here, check this out. Here's more proof. Northern companies offer
he got more proof. Okay, let's listen.
Special incentives to encourage Black workers to relocate, including free transportation and low-cost housing. Oh shit, that sounds like immigrants. Oh my God, that sounds like free transportation. These migrants are being transported all over the place. They're seeing the United States more than we are. You feel me? Low-cost housing. These migrants are going into low-cost housing too. So that's what the aid was. And check this out, even more aid. Check this out.
Okay. let me let him finish that point.
World War I, there was a decline in European immigrants. Decline, of course, because the two major countries are going to war, right? Which slow supply of workers from the north of factories and all this other stuff. Rightfully so, right? But this is what the aid, he is saying Black Americans didn't get no aid. This is proof. Black Americans did get aid. Free transportation. Yo, y'all don't even have to, check this out. Y'all don't even have to walk for this great
Okay. Now he's saying that we did get aid because we quote unquote got free transportation and low cost housing. Notice that he doesn't bring up where any of this happens. Because when I was talking about the Great Migration, I was able to give you cities. I was able to give you certain industries. I was able to give you certain locations and dates and all that stuff. He doesn't provide any of that. Where was that? Where did the industry give Black people low-cost housing as an incentive? Where did that happen? I'm literally just asking, where did that happen where our incentive was low-cost housing? Because you can't say we were discriminated in housing, which we were, but we were also incentivized with low-cost housing. And let's be honest, low-cost housing and free housing are very different. Low-cost housing, you still pay. Free housing is free. That's different. You guys are getting something free. They are getting something free. Even if there was an incentive somewhere with low-cost housing, you're still paying. And another thing with the free transportation, that's not like here. If you work for this factory, I'll give you a car. No, there are certain instances where they would pay for a bus route to pick certain employees up, to pick them up, to take them to work, and you would have to walk to the bus route to get on the bus to get dropped off at work. Like when I was working for UPS, they were doing that. That's not free transportation like that. Providing for you, that's not what that. He's reaching with that. And even still, and let's say that all of that is true. Let's say 100% of that is true. Even still, that's an incentive given by an industry. I'm talking about aid given by the government. What he's talking about is not the government. I'm talking about the state, the local city, state, and federal government giving them things. He's talking about a mutual deal that some Black Americans somewhere had with a corporation that they had to work for. I used to work at, well, of course you guys know UPS, but I'm going to use Target because that was a better example. At Target, they would give you an employee card or an employee number. And when you get off work, you can buy something. And when you put your employee number in there, you would get 5% off everything you buy. I think with food, it was 10. And then with everything else, like clothes and stuff, it was 5. And I was able to use that all the way up until I quit. When I was not an employee, I was not able to use that. When I was the employee, I was able to use that. A lot of jobs do that. They give you certain bonuses or incentives and certain perks and stuff like that when you work for the corporation, when you work for the company. When you do not work for the company, you don't have that. So me working for the company and me having some type of incentive or perk for working for the company is very different from you having the same exact perk and not having to work for the company. That's like me saying I have to be an employee to get a 5% discount, and you just walk in and you automatically get a 5% discount. And then you looking at me like, hold on, you got a 5% discount though. You can't get mad at me. We got the same discount. I got a 5%, you got a 5%. It's not the same. I literally have to work for this benefit or perk or whatever. First off, I don't even know where he's getting this information that we were getting low cost house. I don't know where that came. I don't know where that came from. He can't bring up any city, any town, any state, but okay, whatever. But even if it was true, that still means that was a part of the job. That was a benefit of the job. Certain jobs have certain benefits. They'll give you like a free bus card. Some certain jobs give you like a free bus card. But that's because you work for the job. And when you leave the job, you don't get to keep the bus card. That don't count as aid. And that was not specific for black workers. They were during a labor shortage. Nothing at all was specifically for black workers. So if they were giving free transportation, it wasn't, oh, hold on, no, this is free transportation for black people. That's not how they were. They were giving free transportation for anybody working at that job. If there was any perks for working at the job, everybody who worked at the job got it. It wasn't specifically set aside for black folk. That wasn't how it was. What you guys are getting is things specifically set aside, specifically and exclusively for you, and there is nothing that they expect from you in return. Nothing at all. It is not the same. But this is his attempt to debunk my points. This is why my 5 points were so very important. They were so important because when people go out of their way to quote unquote debunk my 5 points, and this is the best they can do, that shows you that these 5 points are very relevant. You're seeing them pop up in articles about reparations. You're the not the 5 points, but you're seeing the connection between the illegal migration and the Great Migration. You're seeing the connection that they're trying to make. That's why I put the 5 points there. And they know it's a barrier to that little argument. They know it's a barrier to that argument. That's why he's trying to debunk it. But essentially, I'm going to let him wrap this up.
Migration will help you migrate somewhere else. And here's some low-cost housing. I think, was it back in the day, this was like, what, $50? Okay, just pay me $20. I got you. That's what it is. Let's keep it 1,000. That's what the aid was. If there was cell phones back then, they would have got free cell phones too. So everything that he's saying that's trying to separate the Great Migration from, that's not fleeing. This is everything that he's saying applies to this, applies to the Great Migration. That's insane. You know what I'm saying? That is insane. But listen,
the main thing though, and then he goes on to say, you know, much respect and all that stuff. So I didn't call him out his name. I didn't call him out his name at all. I wasn't like throwing no ad hominems or anything like that. But the thing is that he's saying, oh, it's the same. The very, very key main thing is that we, during the Great Migration, our people during the Great Migration were legal citizens of the United States of America. So anywhere we went, anything we did, anything, it's not the same as someone who is not a citizen of the country to come over and get the benefits from. You can't, it's not immigration if it's the same country. If it's the same landmass, it's not immigration. That's like if you get a house and you move up the street in the same neighborhood, that doesn't qualify as immigration. That's not immigration. Migrating, you can migrate in the same country. We would be legal migrants. They are not. They are foreign invaders, legally speaking. That's what they are. Y'all keep calling them migrants because those are cute little words, asylum seekers, cute little words. That's not what it is. They're not that. They are literally not that. He just admitted. He admitted that they're not asylum seekers. I'm going to show you the list one more time. Let me pull this up. Pull this up one more time. Oh, hold on. Before I do that, let me get to the super chats because I didn't mean to ignore y'all. So, shout out to Antithesis for the $10 super chat. He says, cut the check. Hashtag for the culture. Of course, hashtag for the culture. Thank you very much. And cut the check. We ain't tolerating that. This is why we need that check cut, because they cutting it for everybody else. Then Patrick again says basically a committee with a paper to paper up the Demis shills. Yeah, a committee to pay their bootlicks, their shills, to tell us we're studying, and that's it. Then he's another one from Hacksign KT, a $2 super chat. He says, B1 and 100% facts, Chief. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution. I appreciate your support. And then Prosperity said for the 4.99 super chat says, Afro Elite, hold it down, keep moving. The facts. Thank you very much. We got boots on the ground. Keep it real. Brandon Johnson don't have a clue. Peace. Thank you very much. Oh, and he don't. Brandon, he thinks that the commission. This is why we have to be here to get before 2024. I'm doing this as soon as he officially launched it. Before 2024, we already debunked this commission. We already debunked. We ain't even gonna have to wait for 2024. It's debunked now. He's giving us commission. He might as well not even have signed his name on that thing because we don't care. He might as well he wasted his time even making that damn tweet. He could have saved his energy with that weak ass tweet he made. But let me show you guys. These are the 5 points that make everything 100% different. If it was not so different, I would not be able to make 5 separate points about it. Number 1, slavery built the entire country, not just the South. I don't give a damn when America, quote unquote, became a powerhouse. That don't matter. It does not matter. America's foundation were literally foundational Black Americans. That is it. Anything else that America accomplished, any war, any skirmish, any battle, any accomplishment, stems from that. It all goes back to the very first domino, which is foundational Black Americans. It was quite literally a foundational Black American, Crispus Attucks, who was the first person to die in the Revolutionary War. Had it not been for FBA, they wouldn't even have won the Revolutionary War. So yes, slavery built the whole country. Number 2, the Great Migration was under the USA government. I don't know how anybody could try to debunk that. He tried to bring up, well, what about what did he say? What did he say? He said, well, I don't know, because what about sundown towns? Well, sundown towns are still in the US. So that's not a point. Sundown towns was still in the US, and it doesn't, he's trying, yeah. It was, we didn't leave the country. That's the point. Number 3, the purpose was economic opportunities, not escape racism. Earlier in this broadcast, we talked about the Red Summer in 1919, years after slavery. Okay. And after the Great Migration started, you still had white supremacist mobs killing Black people in Chicago. So nobody thought that Chicago was a sanctuary city. There was no sanctuary city in America, and has never been, for foundational Black Americans. Never. And there's not one today. All right. Point 4, the Great Migration was beneficial to the country. He just admitted that. He didn't even really debunk it. He said, but we are too. What about us? We are too. There's one guy in Boston, I think, maybe, he paid taxes. I don't know his name. He might have been in Boston. He might not have, but he paid taxes. I heard. That's literally what he said. Point number 5. There was no aid given in the Great Migration. A job is not considered aid. That is not aid. He was like, no, y'all got a job, didn't you? That's aid, right? No, it ain't. Y'all got free government assistance from a government that's not yours. Y'all comparing that to us. Y'all got paid every Friday, every other Friday. Yeah, because we have to go to work every day. That's not an aid. But hold on, we was getting checks and y'all was getting checks. Yeah, the difference is we had to work for our checks. But that's the argument he tried to bring up. Lord. But those are the points. Those are the points, brothers and sisters. Now, before because we've been here for a minute, but this is why it's so very important that we subscribe and we stay on track of all of this stuff, because they're watching. They're watching this. They're watching my 5 points. My 5 points hit him where it hurts. My 5 points hit a nerve. He was the only one brave enough to try to debunk the 5 points as much as he, I guess, attempted to. He was the only one brave. I give him bravery, I guess. He was the only one brave enough to do that. So That's that. But why do you think that it matters to them so much? Why? Because those 5 points is the barrier between them trying to tie illegal migration to the Great Migration. This is why we have to stay on it. Okay? Because Brandon Johnson is trying to placate Black society with a reparations subcommittee. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to be like, guys, next year I'm gonna set up some meetings to get some people, to pick some people to set up another meeting. He literally said that. He quite literally said that. All right. That's what he said. Okay. This is why we have to be on point with every single thing. And then you got controlled opposition. You have controlled opposition be like, man, we want reparations, but we want some for the illegals too. We want reparations though, but we want reparations for our Black and brown brothers and sisters. That's what they're saying. What about everybody? The Latinos are the same. No, they're not. My great granddaddy came from the Great Migration, and so did Jose. So they're the same. No, they're not. So you got controlled opposition trying to go against that. My 5 points is the thing that's blocking controlled opposition. That's why I made it. Okay. That's why it's very important that we start getting the message out. Those are the things that make it completely different. Also, if you guys weren't here last week, let me pull this up because I made this announcement. Let me find it. So on the 10th, literally on the 10th, y'all, I need everybody from the Chicago area, everybody who can pull up, should pull up to this right here. Hold on. Can I click it? Okay, there we go. Computer acting slightly slow, but it's okay. It's okay. We're here. So check this out. Yes, we got this popping. We got this going on. On the 10th, we have the Dr. Clyde Winters book signing / Q&A from 1 to 4 on the 10th, next month. Okay. Location, 4801 South Michigan Avenue. Okay. It's going to be me. It's going to be refreshments. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a wonderful family event. Bring the kids, bring a family member, bring whatever, whoever, anybody who's curious, even if they're not like super conscious like yourself. You know, this is going to be a good way to introduce them to Black consciousness, to Black empowerment. This is going to be a really good way to do that. You can get your book signed. Very valuable. We'll have a conversation about plans because there's certain things that we should say offline. So we're going to have conversations about plans about fixing the Black community. And that's all I'll say about that. That's all I'll say. So yes, make sure it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a beautiful way to end this year. Beautiful. All right. We've been on a little bit longer than I'm used to. This month, we did a good job. We did the For the Culture. Shout out to For the Culture, y'all. We launched the For the Culture in the beginning of the month to make the Rally for Reparations an actual FB holiday. So we were successful with that. We've had a lot of successes, a lot of good videos, a lot of good reels and all that stuff. There was, some bumps in the road, of course, as to be expected. Next month, we got to hit the ground running. We got 1 month. It's not too much pressure, but we have 1 month to get this channel to 10K. That's something that can be done. That is something that can be done. We are having faster growth than with each 1,000. We have faster growth. Okay. We can literally do that. We have less than 700. We can do that, especially with this event coming up, with other projects and stuff like that I'm working on with other people. We can definitely do that, but we're going to have to do this together. Okay. That means, especially when I go live, it needs to be liked, shared, retweeted, comments, all of the comments. So you guys know the videos that do the best, or most of them that do the best, are the ones with the most comments on it. So the one I made with Jack Harlow got a lot of comments, and that did above average. You know what I'm saying? So when you guys leave a comment, even if it's a hashtag for the culture, hashtag FBA, whatever, that helps. The videos that really blow up are the ones that have a lot of comments most of the time. So that really helps. Leaving a like, that really helps. Sharing, even if with the algorithm, even if you go to it, and even if you don't share, if you go to the thing where it says share link and you copy the link, even if you don't send it to nobody, that helps the algorithm. So you can literally help by just copying the link, even if you don't send it to somebody, which you should, but even if you don't, that helps. So all of that stuff, it really does help the algorithm. Every time you guys are in the chat room, because the algorithm calculates the activity in the chat room. So when you guys are leaving the fireball emojis and stuff like that, that helps in the algorithm, because the algorithm picks it up as this is a really interactive live. You know what I'm saying? So that really helps. Thank you very much for the super chat again. Hack sign KT said GL on the 10K, man. Hey, yeah, the 10K is coming. And what a beautiful way to start the next year with 10,000. Just be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So with that being said, my brothers and my sisters, make sure you guys follow me on my various social media pages, which is Afro Elite on Instagram, and then the Afro Elite on Twitter or X, whatever y'all call it. Twitter, I call it Twitter. It's in the description below. Shout out to also, because I don't want to forget this. I did that the last time. Shout out to our good sister Pam. Shout out to our good sister Pam for the Cash App. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, beloved. Also, please, like I said, don't forget to like, very important, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, thumbs up, hit that notify me all the time. Make sure you guys tune in for Monday, because I wanted, since we got the call-in thing, I almost want to do another call-in thing Monday, because there's a certain subject that I want you guys' opinion on. I want to hear what you guys think that I'm thinking about Monday. So be expecting that. So make sure that you guys tune in Monday. Get here early so you're not at the back of the line. Get here early on Monday so we can do the call-in thing. All right. With that being said, my brothers and my sisters, be one salute to every single last one of you all, and you all have a good one.